All right, now that you have your 3 storyboards complete, it's time to go a little deeper. So I'm going to click on storyboard 1 and make sure that it's highlighted. The next part of this task is to go to key positions and identify 3 key positions within the video clip. In order to do this, the first thing that you have to do is watch the clip. So I'm going to watch it a couple of times, and I'm going to be looking for 3 things: planes, an axis of movement, muscles, and joints. So as I watch it, I'm going to be thinking about what would be 3 freeze frames that I could critically analyze. Once I have some ideas, I'm just going to click around up here, get that green downward playhead, and I can move it around to identify a freeze frame that I want to look at. So wherever that is, I just move it back and forth and decide, yep, that's where I want to look. Once I want to capture this, all I have to do is go over and press this green plus, and it says Add Key Position. I'll click that, and it appears here as number 4. If I don't like that or want to do a different one, I can simply delete it by making sure it's highlighted, red X, yes to delete. That's how you identify your key position. Now, once you have them selected, you need to go in and analyze and label. So the first key position is supposed to be titled Planes and Axes. You type that into the label and then identify which plane, which axis of movement, and talk about how you know that. Then make sure you use drawing tools and a variety of them to identify that in the freeze frame. So to find the drawing tools in Dartfish, you go over here to the right-hand side. So there are a variety you can choose from. For this, I'll use a pencil, and I'm going to change it to a red pencil. I'm going to identify the plane. If I do a squiggly line, it doesn't look very good. I can just click undo, and then maybe I'll try again. This is actually a whole lot harder than it should be. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and click on the T for text. I'm going to make sure it's going to type in black. The T is still lit up, and then I'm going to click here and type in the plane. Okay, so you would, of course, type sagittal. Then I'm going to go make another line, and this one maybe is going to be a different color. Let's go with green for this one. And this is hard to do also because of just the nature of this image, but okay, so there's my line. Maybe I go, oh, actually I want to move it back a little bit. Once it's highlighted with those white ends, you should be able to orient it differently. And then I'm going to do the same thing, text, black, and I'll label it axis. So you would actually type in anterior, posterior axis. So you would identify it down here, which plane, which axis, how do you know, and then use the drawing tools to label and explain that on the freeze frame. That's number 1. Okay, key position number 2. We click over here to key position 2. This one, I'm looking at muscles. That shouldn't be there, so I'm going to go ahead and delete it. But right here, it would say muscles for the label. You'll need to type that in. Then you're going to write about the agonist and antagonist muscles involved in that specific freeze frame of movement. And remember to use anatomical terms. So I'm not going to say quads and calves. I would use gastrocnemius, label each of the individual 4 muscles of the quads, not say hamstrings, but list them out anatomically. And then again, I'm going to use drawing tools on the side to identify different muscles in this picture. So right here, I've clicked on the square or the rectangle, and maybe I'm talking about the lumbopelvic hip complex. So I would identify it here, and then maybe I would even like type a number in the text box, or I could label them right here if I want to. So you could type in the muscles of the lumbopelvic hip complex. I could type them there, or I could list them here and refer to box A or box 1 for a better description. But I'm using drawing tools to identify muscles in this image. The next one is joints. So I have the same thing. Remember, all you do is move this around, green plus to add a key position, and now I'm into joints. So this should not be here. I'm going to go ahead and delete it. And then type in joints. Use drawing tools to identify the joints involved in the freeze frame. And then in a description, name and identify their type. So I would say shoulder is a ball and socket. I would probably also in this image talk about ankles, knees, wrists, elbows. And to do that, you can again maybe use this tool, let's say. So I'm going to use that plus, and I'm going to make it, I don't know, blue for this one. And I'm going to say, yep, right there is a joint. And I'm also going to make another joint right here is the elbow. So you can see it's adding those. If you don't like something about it, you can always undo it. I think those blues are hard to see, so I'm going to make them yellow. Maybe that's a little bit better. So you can play with the drawing tools and make sure that you're using those in your image of freeze frame, and then you're explaining what you're identifying down in the description. Once you have all three of those done, you can click around, double check that they all look good. See, when I deleted that lumbopelvic hip complex, it went away. So you're going to have to play with how this works. You may have to retype certain things. The drawing tools are the most frustrating piece of this software system. So do the best you can and be creative. The most important part is that you're using drawing tools and that you're typing thorough description in the box. That's the completed storyboard 1 with 3 key positions, everything in the narrative, and drawing tools on the images. Storyboard 1 complete.